How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lone Wolf, and today I'm going to review this Chevrolet Kodiak C70 because I've already done the upgrade locations video, and yeah, I wanted to review it, test it out because obviously it's a free truck. It's pretty relevant to everyone. It's one of the first trucks you're going to get, so yeah, we'll see how she stacks up against the others. So as for engines, there's only two, but the second one, like the power to weight jump, it's only one bar off full. I know then it can go like S and S plus and whatever, but still, that's not a bad start. I'm going high range gear, but I like it in high range, to be honest. It's pretty nice in this. Suspension, you can see from like the little windows in the garage door in the background that's a pretty good way to just see how much it jumps up. It's not an amazing amount, but it doesn't sit that low anyway, so it's pretty decent. As for tyres, it's not horrific, especially for an early game truck, but it's the biggest it's got is 43 inch, I believe it is. Sort of 45s would be quite nice. But yeah, like I say, it's early game truck, it sits nice and high anyway for what it is. Put the best winch I could on it. The diff lock, I can't remember if you have to buy it or not, or you might find it as an upgrade, but yeah, it's got diffs are engageable. The spare wheel goes at the side of the ladder frame chassis. The Snorkel looks like a good start because it's like basically at the roof. It might even be a tiny bit higher. Engageable all-wheel drive, and again I like how it changes the front axle. It looked like the axle with a diff on was a tiny bit higher. And this thing actually looks like really long at the back, but when you put a fuel tank on it, it takes up like the whole length of the truck, so I don't think it's as long as you'd think. I nearly said it, but it's not because it's not got twin rear axles. It sort of leaves a lot of just ladder frame chassis sticking out. I put a sun visor on. As for these, you've got obviously like fog lights and stuff. I'll show you because they've updated it now on the PS4 and the actual source of light shows up. As for the bumpers, this one is like, it's a bloody good angle. Look at it from like the front of the bumper down to like the front of the wheel sort of thing. That bumper's worse, it's just lower, that's all there is to it. It's still not a bad angle though. That one's pretty tall and it sticks forward a bit. This top one is kind of, it sits higher than the stock one, but it does poke out a bit more. And yeah, if you drew a line, it might be the tiniest little bit worse, I reckon. So don't worry if you ain't got the money to, just stick with the stock. The stock one is fine. In the end, I went for this because I quite like the look of it, and it had two fog lights on the bumpers as well, whereas obviously that one's just got no fog lights. It looks like it had two little holes where maybe they could go, but it didn't have it. Oh yeah, I was going to say, I couldn't even see how that was. You see where the steps are? There's like a little metal bar that goes around the steps. I'll show you something about that later that you might want to add it, you might not, but we'll see. And then yeah, the last thing was the rims. I put some different. I like the 5-spoke ones at the rear. It's 6-spoke at the front. But as for body paint jobs, it's got that American flag one, which I really like, to be honest. And I was sort of thinking it may be better if it had that green with it, but I think the dull green makes the red of the American flag pop pretty nice. So it does on my TV. I noticed YouTube colour is a little bit different, or it might just be my phone or whatever. That red and white I really like. That I don't dislike, and I could fully imagine that as like a real life truck, but yeah, I like the brighter colours. I like this one as well. The only reason I didn't really go for that is because I've already got like the Tiger in orange and black. I think I've got the Hummer, or one of my Hummers, in orange and black. And that one as well, pretty nice green. Like, it's nice. That is the one I would go for though. But obviously I'm going to go for the like American custom paint job, that one. Yeah, like I say, it's pretty light green, but I think it helps the flag stand out. So we'll go and check her out outside. Again, I like the look of this truck. I can't think of any trucks I don't really like the look of. So inside, yeah, not too... Sorry, these ambulances are doing my tits in. There's roadworks outside, so they're not on a call. They're all just hitting their fucking lights so they can get through the traffic. Honestly, I'd like had to stop this recording. I don't know how many times because they just keep cutting the traffic out, and then miraculously the call gets cancelled just as they get through the roadworks. Anyway, I'll try and get back to the video again. Yeah, inside looks pretty cool. You can see out the back, and you can see tyres, which I like. Even in that mirror, you see if I was driving on that angle, like I wouldn't be going fast, but I could see my tyres the horn, yeah, not bad to be honest. It's got a better note than like what was that really high pitched one? It might have been the A's of John. That's its new name because I can't keep remembering its phone number every time. Yeah, so horn's alright. As you can see, the rev counter, good news. It was like a nice fast climbing rev range or whatever. Like it's yeah, good to see something like that. A few of these things recently have been really slow, or slow to climb. Yeah, put it in high, takes off nicely. It doesn't drift too much with the chained on. As for trailers, you can have, I believe, every trailer, and they sit pretty high considering it's again an early game truck. There's like pretty decent ground clearance. Even that, I know those rear tyres are like at the base of the rims, but I think again even that A's of John was, or like the big red, whatever we're going to call it. But yeah, that's pretty decent to be honest, especially for an early game truck. And again, takes off pretty nicely. I got a bit squirrely there and smashed into the barrier. I was testing the steering, but it was a bit... It's almost like there's like a half a second delay when you turn, and then, but it's got quite deep steering, so it's sort of, again, it's like nothing whoosh, but pretty happy with how it got through here. That's in high gear. That's no diffs on or anything. Like, I'd be well happy with that. Obviously, if I was towing cargo and stuff, I'd go down into low, but if I'm just, you know, I want to go somewhere, like, and again, I know a lot of people like to go slow. I've been playing this, what, like 400 odd hours now. Like, I've done the slow driving. I know I've been down every road, and it's like now there's times where, yeah, I just want to get where I'm going. Yeah, bombing down this hill. I put it in auto a little bit late, but it picks up speed alright. As for tree killing, it killed one consistently, but it never got two or anything like that, which, to be honest, I don't really mind, because again, I wouldn't expect this thing, especially no cargo or anything on it, I wouldn't expect it to be amazing, but I would want it to kill at least one tree, so if I accidentally, something happens and I'm going to hit one, I know I can smash through it rather than bounce off it. And yeah, it did it. Here's where it does suffer compared to almost every other truck. Because it's only got one rear axle, there's just one point, and it's quite a long frame as well, really, so like you've got a hell of a lot of weight just sat on that one axle. And this bit is particularly boggy anyway. It catches up a lot of trucks, but they can usually pull themselves out in low. I can also tell you, I've cut it out to save a bit of time, but I came back in a low range gearbox and it did the same thing. I wanted to see if low would be slow enough on the rear to not chew its way into the mud, but it wasn't. Like, as soon as you dig in a bit and it builds like a bit of a bank. That's with the steering, I'm still getting used to it. It's not too bad, but this was like not silly long after driving it. Yeah, you can see how when you sit still you start to sink down as well. With a low, it was almost so slow that you sank as you were trying to go forward, and it was yeah, it didn't help, but I did try it. I brought the off-road down here and gave it a go. It might be for you. I can't sacrifice that high range. As for suspension, to be honest, pretty decent. Well, I wouldn't say it's solid, and yeah, you take the odd one here and there, but because the truck isn't rapid, like the ANK is fast enough with sort of weak enough suspension that you can smash it up given long enough, whereas this, I definitely wouldn't consider it like a worry. I've still got plenty of suspension health left. Going across here, the first bit was really slow. I ended up winching to a tree just to drag myself forward. It would have got there, but it was really slow. But again, it's very early game truck, and it's only got the one axle. It's actually not bad in mud, I've got to be honest. Yeah, I was trying it in like high, auto, etc, etc. As for the lights, I know these aren't lighting up at the minute. I believe the reason why is because it's daytime, the game doesn't automatically put your parking lights or any of that on, so I'll show you the lights in a sec, but I believe that's why, because when I'm here at night, as soon as I start the truck up, the beacons come on, all the orange parking lights are glowing, my lights are already glowing now, which obviously they weren't before, and now when I turn them on, they're pretty damn bright. When that was full size on my TV at night, it was almost like you could blink and it felt like you'd been staring at a light bulb afterwards. But yeah, when they didn't turn on in that Black River crossing, I think that's just the game, like, hasn't put your side lights and everything on yet. But yeah, it's nice to have them back, that reverse lights and everything work, or have them, shall I say. To be honest, it was of zero game consequence to me, so I was in no rush, but yeah, it's like I'd rather have it than not. Same with the mirrors. But yeah, I'm still glad they're there. Went through the snow very nicely in higher range, and it got over here, even though it's only got 43-inch tyres, it's a bit sluggish getting its back end over. I think that long like ladder frame chassis sticking out the back doesn't help, because obviously like, I don't know, bloody maths, momentum, equilibrium, all that crap, it's like sticking out more. It's going to need more force to tip over because it's further away from the chassis. And down here, because the truck doesn't weigh a silly amount, it doesn't grip down as amazing as the heavy trucks. And it did beach itself because it's got quite a long wheelbase, but again, like, a load of trucks beach over that, so it's nothing to get too worried about. And what I love about this is, yeah, the nose angle, like, even though it's not got massive tyres, it still was able to clear that barrier. And again, it did take me like a little bit messing around here. I approached at a bit of an angle in the end, and it wouldn't be my go-to. The reason this test is relevant to me anyway, on White Valley I was exploring and I couldn't get over a barrier, and the amount, like, the length of the barrier, I had to drive all the way along the road, get round it, and then drive all the way back through deep snow. And yeah, it took about 20 minutes, and it's like, if I could just get over that barrier, it would have saved me a lot of time. So I like to know what can and can't get over them. Through here, again, it is pretty slow. I was in low with the diffs on, but I've just put it in auto to see. That grey, like, bush thing, again, is absolutely... that hangs on to anything for dear life. Like, that messes you up way worse than the trees. But it got over there comfortably. It wouldn't... again, I wouldn't fancy taking cargo up and over that specific bit, but you'll never need to. It's just a random little snow test I've sort of came up with. Getting onto here again, yeah, like, it's not so heavy that it tried to pull itself over to the left. Nose clearance is just fine, so it even cleared that rock, no problem. Yeah, I have to say, for an early game truck, we're going to get a couple of glitches here, but don't worry, you'll see why it's sort of like there. The amount of time, this glitches more than anything, so the PS4 just does not like processing all that information at once. I got this far and attached a winch, but the steps, you can see there, got caught, and that's what I was saying earlier when I couldn't remember what attachment I was fitting. That metal bar that goes around the steps are still there, but obviously, as you can see, it's definitely caught on them and it's not letting me over. I started pulling this way thinking, oh, I'll see if I can sort of scoop my back end round. Yeah, I'm going to come back with them pipes. I don't think it makes the world of difference because the steps are still there, but I just thought I'd mention it. And the reason I left this in is its engine's still running at this angle, which I know, I don't know, I think a lot of trucks are just, say, stalled now. So I thought that was quite nice. Again, you get sort of feels of an early game truck that just let you off the little things. Sadly, I got over, but then it tripped. Right, it's going to glitch again, but this is why it doesn't really matter, because I didn't get over that time. But you don't really have to try and bounce your way over, because that nose angle is so good. And yeah, I ate a bit of wall there, but if you actually look, it was like, I don't know, 20-30 engine damage and a bit of suspension damage, like nothing. I've still got plenty of health left. Yeah, I got caught on the step again, but what I did, me little trick where winch from the back of my truck to that tree, and it kind of levers your left hand side over, and my wheels are going up them pipes, and eventually, well, with some trucks you'll like just tip over. Obviously that Azov was really rear heavy, so I had to do this as well. And I was just trying to find the balance point again. I don't think anything's as nuts as that Azov. Like, that's why I noticed it and left it in. So I was bringing the Dolphin with a crane, and yeah, I did try to fly the loaf. Well, actually, I didn't try, I did fly the loaf. That's another tick in the box for the loaf. See, full lock, fingers crossed, and pin it. Amount of time that method has saved me. It's worth it. So yeah, I just wanted to... By the way, this is a way... Someone said earlier about using the big crane with the loaf. I gave it all a test. If I'm honest, the small crane is easier because this just can't shrink enough to be over itself. The reason I like the loaf like this on the dolphin though is because, like, imagine I'm blocked by a river or something now, so I can't actually get quite as close to that Kodiak. I go to use the Azov winch, and I can't reach the Kodiak. Or again, there could be a steep cliff, a drop, whatever. Switch to the loaf, and because the loaf's nose is practically level with the Azov's anyway, I can reach the Kodiak now, and it's just little things like dolphin and loaf, Swiss Army dolphin. Or in fact, I believe this one has been nicknamed Swiss Army Rescue Dolphin Limited Edition. Pretty advanced stuff. But yeah, there's the balancing point. You see those like two pretty close like rungs of the ladder on the ladder frame chassis. It's kind of in between them. I was a tad forward then. Here's another way to carry the loaf though, just you don't have to do it from... To be honest, I was going to say this is quite a nice way to carry it, but then I thought, well, actually, flying it like a kite and peeking over the roof of the Azov, I don't know, I like them all. There's just... You can't go wrong with a loaf. I didn't even need to drive back, I just did, because I could. Going through the trees, got that, like, there's a lip of snow there. Look at it, I was like, Jesus Christ, them tree branches are springy. I didn't realise I'd put it in reverse. It does punch through these fine, but I will say, compared to like the Azov John that's got a massive head, and when I was pushing the Azov through with a loaf on top, like, hitting them taller branches. But yeah, it got up here, I have to say. Yeah. Do you know what? Before yesterday, I'd only ever bought 2 of them Scout fuel trailers. Yesterday alone, I think I bought 5 or 6, and I was flying them all over the place. Don't go mountain kite flying because, yeah, things got a bit leery. It doesn't, like, it's not bad for rolling, it definitely isn't. I tell you, I just thought downhill mountain kite flying, oh, I'm gonna have to give that a go. I better get some right speed. Yeah, like, we'll see a little late with the rolling. Look at the turning circle. I don't know about you guys, is this better than the Derry? I reckon this might have the Derry beat. The Zix was about this good as well. But, I mean, my trailer's rotated 180 and I've basically got almost 360 to where I'm pushing against the trailer, and it's still got the power to just shove it round at this angle, which I like, because that has caught me out before on some other vehicles, and yeah, like, no problem. Again, the steering's a little bit delayed and then full on, so I steered a little bit too far to the left, but I didn't, like, add time to get back. And this has just showed you, if I wanted to reverse and turn round, like, it's just, it does it very nicely because, yeah, it's got like a very nice steering angle. And this is exactly where, fingers crossed, pushy luck. It didn't pay off this time. Got a flatty, so robbed the tyre off the Azov, and we're off. And you see now, when I floor it, watch it scoot forward, like it doesn't turn much. You see where the saddle is? It sits just behind the rear axle, and because of that, when you've got a lot of weight on, it kind of seesaws your truck over that rear axle, and your front steering, like my steering's quite light at the minute, as you can see it's sort of understeering a bit. Yeah, it could do preferably with the saddle moving a tad forward. The good news is though, there is room for a loaf, which, that, I mean, that makes all the difference. See the rev range, like, I'm going in high and it doesn't need a lot of revs, but when I tap the handbrake, the revs shoot up, and that's just what I like about either high or auto. And that's not high range gearboxes versus off-road, I'm like, that's low range versus auto or high range, whichever gearbox you've got. Yeah, it's like that rev range is there, whereas in low range it caps it, and it's like, there's times where it can make you lose your momentum and stuff. Through here, I actually thought it'd sort of give, like, screwed now, and because obviously it's only got the single rear axle, yeah, I figured like all the weight on the back, it's just shoving it into the snow too far. However, it did slowly start to claw its way through, and a lot of them do bog out, like that specific bit when you start getting near back to this route, which I'm trying to go round. My wheel sort of goes through it then. I've noticed tonight, they've done an update by the way, and I've noticed like a couple of tree stumps I kind of went through a little bit, and a few rocks, like, not that I'm necessarily complaining, it's just things seem to be like not full on clipping, and it's only like random stuff around the map, but I got away with a little bit more tonight rather than smashing into something. Yeah, it gets around there just fine. I'm only in low range as well, so that's why I wasn't going that fast. And I have to say, and I'm not hating on the Azov John, the big red thing. I've kept it, by the way, so I'd have just sold it if I didn't like it, so I'm not just making it up. I like it, I just don't like the gearbox. I got through there in high, and even that Azov John thing, the big red one, couldn't do that, so I couldn't get it in high with that. So yeah, I like, not knocking the Azov, I'm saying this was pretty impressive to do that with cargo. Goes through the water just fine. I did steer a little. Like, that was my second run through there. The first time I was fine. That time I just steered too early. Gets through here just fine. Pretty wide rear axle again. Probably like the Freightliner 114 SD, I believe. That had quite a... To be honest, it's got a wider rear. I know it's got jewels, but if the front was a tiny bit wider, it'd be nice. Like, it really isn't bad at rolling at all, but just a slightly wider front. I'll have to check through all the tyres and see if any have got like a wider track to them. But yeah, even that deep snow where it dips down, a lot of vehicles slow down a lot there. This thing's actually not bad in the snow. Snow and mud. It's better than I thought. I'd say for an early game truck that's free, like, and I liked that Paystar was pretty damn good. But bear in mind, this is fully upgraded. We'll have a quick look inside and then I'll say something about fully upgraded. Yeah, views inside, not bad to be honest. There is a bonnet there, but it's not silly bad. I can see my tyre, that's all I'd want from that really. I believe the looking outside glitched earlier, so here's this one. I apologise, I couldn't, like, it's been getting me recently. While I was looking outside, oh crap. Panic steer. Yeah, in high range though, through here, like, pretty nice progress. A lot of stuff is able to when it's on these snow tracks, but yeah, like, it's just nice pace. The bonnet doesn't really get your horizon, that's why it doesn't really bother me. Every now and then the bottom left hand corner's handy because there is a bit more. Right, it made it through there. I don't know what I hit there. It did it twice in a row. It's like some invisible net that just caught me for a quarter of a second both times. But it never hit its bumper or anything. And it didn't make it through here in high the first time, but the second time it did. Which again, that's pretty... Even the Taiga got almost to the end. And I have made it through in the Taiga in high, so yeah, like, this had a nice attempt, but nonetheless, it could, and that's pretty decent to me. So next up is the old rock bridge, and I had a pretty high hopes for this sort of thing because it's got such good nose clearance. Yeah, I've kind of figured it'd do alright, and even though I'm just in auto at the minute, it's not insane on its speed, so I'll stick it in high now, and yeah, the steering's still fine. That I'd take a trailer over there, it wouldn't worry me. I wouldn't particularly want to do like heavy cargo like the concrete slabs, but just, you're not really doing concrete slabs early in the game. Stuff like wooden planks and whatnot, yeah, I'd chance it. I think if this made it, there's no reason to say why it wouldn't, or it'd be a pain in the arse. See, that again, it's them bushes, like, they're worse than the trees, but the only reason I'd go through that specific bit is to see what that actually does. See, once it springs back. Going through snow, like I say, I think it's pretty bloody good. The only reason I'm not in low with the diffs on is because it's basically as fast in auto, but I know there's a little shallow bit of snow coming up, and then I can gain a burst of speed. I stick it in high at the right time, and I get up to speed. See what I mean? With, like, I hit the tree stump, but then my rear tyres kind of just clipped through it, so it's sort of getting away with a bit more tonight, but not much. Like I say, I still hit it, but yeah, look, it has a nice burst of speed, even in high. I'd say this is better through snow, surprisingly. Well, not too surprisingly, but the ANK is a very good truck, but it really doesn't like snow very much. Whereas this, pretty damn good. And I actually slammed on at the last second. I was about to go through the next bit, but you can see where that sort of snapped tree is. I know it's this one I go through, and yeah, the turning circle's so nice. I just managed to, I didn't have to reverse up or anything like that. And even through here, I just put it in low range diffs on, but again, I think it's more punchy. The thing is with deep snow, and snow in general, what I quite like, is very often you've got all four wheels sunk in the snow and you've got a lot of purchase. With this truck, if you've got all four wheels on the ground, you can get away with auto or high. Once you're going across the rough stuff and you're cocking a wheel, you're definitely best off in low range with the diffs on, because obviously once you cock a wheel without them, the power just takes the path of least resistance, lights up the wheel doing nothing, and this truck hasn't got enough surplus power to just supply that kind of power to a dead wheel and carry on. But even through here again, like early game truck, I knew it wasn't going to do amazing. Just to kind of mention it, it's like I kind of set a bar for what I expect from a truck, and I didn't expect amazing things from this. Like the Voron AE, someone even said, which they said I was too harsh on the Voron AE, and I don't think I was too harsh, but I was strict on it. But like I said to them, that's a contender for best truck in the game, but to be best truck in the game, you've got to compete against like the Tiger and the Azov Dolphin and stuff. And to me, the Voron was just a tiny, it's like the Tiger is better overall, and the steering on it was horrible for such a small, nimble truck. So I was harsher on that. This isn't end game money, etc, etc. So I have a lower bar set, but it's, yeah, whether it can exceed that or not helps. So I might be more optimistic about a worse truck, but again, this isn't a 80 grand truck stock, it's 70 grand fully upgraded. Yeah, just climbing up here, doing pretty damn nice, only in auto again, and it's ticking along nicely. I just had no reason yet to go into low range with the diffs on. Even went for a bit of a worse nose test than some of the others. You see now though, because I'm in auto and it's not quite got enough speed in the wheels, but because like the revs are able to climb, that's where the thing with chained on like snowy rocks, it's almost like they go grip, not grip, grip, not grip. Like it bites on and lets go really quickly. So if you can light the wheels up quick enough that each little bit of grip stacks on top of each other without, before like the no grip bits kind of have time to let it die down and cancel out. So a bit of speed on icy rocks can help to sort of, yeah, overcome the little slippages every, like, it's probably doing it 10 times a second sort of thing. But yeah, so here we are at the roll test. Like I say, I don't think it's that bad for rolling. Took a little while to let go there. I got sort of unlucky. A few recently seem to be just rolling over towards these. But as you'll see, which some trucks a fair amount don't do, and at this point I was thinking maybe one of the tree branches could be pushing it, but as I kind of doubt it at this point, because that's a whole truck it's sliding along on its roof. And what it's basically trying to do is get back to its side, because the chassis is heavier than the roof basically, which is just, yeah, it's a good sign. Like, and it ain't the best for not rolling, but it's definitely up there. There's the lights on the Tiger, by the way, now they're working as well. It's yeah, looking pretty good. The lights are, I don't know if this will show up the same on YouTube, it might just be the colour settings and everything on my TV, but the lights are pretty intense. Going up here again, I'm in auto, but I try it again in low range with the diffs on. But yeah, it like I thought when I did the White Western Star up here, that's why it's called the White Western Star Hill. But it seems, with chained anyway, because it's icy, like slippery rocks. Yeah, a lot of stuff. I have tested a lot of more end game, high end stuff though. This you would expect. I don't think the Fleet Star will get up here. I don't know yet, but that'll be my prediction. I'll test that at some point. I'll do the Freightliner and stuff soon as well. Someone mentioned that. That's like obviously the picture on SnowRunner. Yeah, there's a couple to get through. I'm going to do another Voron pretty soon as well. See, going up here, like, accelerate through that, and it doesn't go then, but eventually, like, if the front axle was just a tiny bit wider, I reckon I could have got away with that. But it is what it is. It also didn't quite get back there. Like I say, it's not amazing for getting back, but it's not bad. You see there when I floored it, it lifted the front end up and made my steering light. But punching through here, I actually did bloody well. Obviously I've done every truck through there. I might not have left it in every video, but on my way to Quarry, And some of them really slow down on them bumps, but because it had good nose clearance, it didn't catch its nose and lose its momentum, and yeah, it went through there pretty nice. Even here, like, I will say though, just up ahead, where you have like that really deep bit at the end, it didn't like that, and I went pretty damn slow through there. But it got out, it did it. Flying down here, it's a little bit squirrely. If I was just in my own time, I'd, you know, let off a little bit and go a bit slower down there. Yeah, so next up is the old Quarry test, and to be honest with this one, because it's got such good nose clearance, I thought I'll give it a little bit of a harder test. You can kind of see the wheel patterns of where I've dragged quite a lot of stuff down, but yeah, this gets a little bit of an extra sharp ledge. And it's probably not much different at the bottom, even if I was a bit over to the right, but yeah, didn't catch its nose, very happy with that. Even powering through it, that's in auto as well. Well, you'll see in a minute, like, something I quite enjoyed with it. Rocks, it wasn't liking them a lot. Big ones anyway, because the tyres are only 43 inches, like, it's little things like that that do make a difference climbing over rocks. It does get like low range diffs on. It pulled out of there nicely, but then I just let go of the throttle because the front end got light. It wasn't turning as much as I wanted, and then when I put the power back on, there was just not enough there. But I reversed up a bit, and yeah, I got out of there. As for going round here, yeah, she went, and I kind of had a feeling it would. So obviously, bringing the horse. Look at, I just rally this thing everywhere. I honestly can't stop driving this thing. See, sharp steering, so I missed the cliff, but then we went back anyway, but it just don't matter. It just goes back to its wheels, and you'd think, oh, that's definitely gone. Nope. Gives you a few heart stoppers, but it's amazing. Like, I'm not... It's got 100% rescue record. I've not got 100% not rolling and landing on my roof record. Like, I've wedged up, like, landed against trees and stuff, but it's very rare. Like, ridiculous. 99% of the time isn't a joke. Look at this in high gear. Flew around there so nicely. I managed to grab 2 slabs and still keep it in high gear. Like, that is the type of stuff I like. Mr. Lone Wolf delivers. Got over that right. It's not massive, but yeah, it did it. Low range diffs on. I tried to get a bit of a better angle, so I approach it like front ways because I knew it could pull me over. You see now, because the saddle is behind the rear wheel, it's seriously seesawing me at the minute, and it's just taking too much weight off the front. You see why I've just loafs sat around? Like, obviously I let go of the winch then because I'm testing this, but I could have easily just got up there with the load. This is another thing they need to sort. When you're trying to winch stuff over, it just keeps dragging along. It's like they need to make the roof dig in the ground more. The only reason that went then is because the trailer dug in. Otherwise I'd have been dragging it around for another 20 minutes. But undefeated, as usual. The reason I left this bit in was, one, look at it, just go into high and take off up the hill. But they've added a few more missions. I found a mission up here. I mean, look at this loaf. Most stuff would tip already. I was like, hang on, it's a yellow box. Hard left. It just, yep. We're off in high gear. Steep hill. I don't even know if I've ever stalled this thing, even when you damage the engine. Yeah, there's a new mission though, so there might be in other places as well. I found it on it, that's why I left it in, just to remind myself and you guys. I mean, look at it, it's walking on its hands, for Christ's sake. Get this thing a Cirque du Soleil outfit immediately. But yeah, this is why I just have loafs. Loafs everywhere. See? Not even worried. You get your ass off there, loaf. And of course, it just... That's why I like it, because the fun never stops. It just lands and it's like, and we're off again. No 20-minute rescue. Like, it's okay when you're near the garage, but when you're on Pedro Bay and you've got to drive from Northport, rolling is a pain in the arse. So, I approached from a bit of a better angle. I believe that was it then the loaf just helped pull it out? It might not be. Anyway, I approached at a better angle, and believe it or not, see, I do give all these like 3 to 5 attempts, depending. If I know it's not got a chance in hell, I'll only do 2 or 3, but if you ever see something not do something and think, well, you only gave it one chance, I can pretty much guarantee you I didn't, because my own brain is like, well, what if that was just a bad run? I already had a feeling this is what I'd get it. There's a combination of things. The saddle is sat over the rear, or behind the rear, so it's seesawing me. My front wheels haven't got a lot of grip. My rear wheels, I've only got one rear axle, so I've only got two wheels, really, that are digging in. But I rolled back down there, I put it low range diffs on again, and it started to get up. You see, like, just having that loaf sat there, like, I'm running low on fuel. I've been doing a lot of playing around. I wouldn't say this is terrible for fuel. And look, this must be a bit buggy, Quarry, because I was pulling this thing up, it did that transparent bullshit for some reason, and then the cargo fell through the trailer. And I don't get weird stuff like this really on other maps, but I do notice it more on Quarry. Now this is obviously no cargo, because I lost it then. I just wanted to see first of all if it could even get up without a trailer before I go back down for cargo. But yeah, I mean, it got up here, so that's like better than not. And luckily I flew down here before. I'm on my way down now to grab some cargo. By the way, I gave all my fuel to this from the loaf, so loaf sacrificed itself for a good cause. So this is one thing I do like about it though, it doesn't catch its nose once. Like, flew straight down there, in high, trailer didn't detach, like, that's my kind of thing. Here it is, look, I couldn't quite get out though after turning, just because that loaf sat there, bang a winch on it, it immediately starts pulling me and the trailer, and then I'm off. It's just, when I plant loafs, just scatter loafs around where you're working, and honestly, they just come in handy so much, it's insane. Amazingly, look at this, I was like, oh my god, panic winch, hit something behind me, an aborted mission. It got up there in high gear. So, I tried to winch it again with a loaf, but the cargo jumped out, so I jumped back to this. I have now, by the way, before it looks great, it's got unpacked cargo. The problem was last time, that rail on the side of the trailer was digging in the hill, which it does with a lot. It's not really a ground clearance issue, it's more that the trailers sit quite low. But yeah, like, unpacked, obviously I was able to get up. I'm going to pack it again when I go up this next hill, but I just, as you can see, the fuel, I was messing around a lot. I think I even gave the other loaf's fuel to this in a minute. Yeah, to make it happen basically, so I didn't want to be hanging around. So I've just packed the cargo again. And I mean, to be honest, I had this feeling anyway. The reason it ain't got a hope in hell of making it up, one, this is not easy anyway. If you remember, even that Azov John, or what's it, I don't know, 131. That had 8 wheels gripping, it's heavier, it's got more muscle. This, because of the saddle sat so far back and it's wheeling, there's 2 wheels already gone, and it's only got 1 rear axle. I know they're dual tyre axles, but it's basically only got 2 points of grip. And yeah, it's just not going to happen. Like I say, the Azov had 8 points of grip with bigger wheels, more power and everything, and even that ran out of power over grip. So I didn't have high hopes for it, but I did get back there and try it. As for high speed tests, see, I think things just go nicely down the run. It glitched there, but don't worry, I prepared for such an event. I did multiple runs off something as important as this. It always seems to fly to the right when I launch it off there. Don't know if it's just, I don't know, but it did. I mean, look at that though, 13 engine damage. I was like, I'll take that. But anyway, I was off, obviously, emergency dolphin rescue. I mean, I was running very behind. This was like 6:30 in the morning. I'm normally editing by 4, but I was running late. I wasn't running loaf shenanigans late. It glitched, so I was like, right, go to my me time files. That's how you bang a loaf in. Just had to make sure. I mean, look at it, it's even got a roof rack on it this time. That's how prepared it was for the situation. This was just me rescuing some the other week. Like I say, it was not for footage, I just, because it glitched, just had to check it was able to do it without a roof rack. I messed up the gears a bit there in the Azov. But anyway, and if you think it can't get out, just watch.
He's bad to the bone. Thanks you, Tyrone. Cool, Cyan. Tyrone's going to be driving for us. He's done a rally driving course. Thank you, Tyrone. Cyan.
You see, you thought the loaf was going to tip, didn't you? That's what I thought months ago, but I mean, look at it, pulling A's. I was weight training. Club video was coming up. I knew that was going to be my magnum opus, or whatever you call it. Anyway, emergency dolphin loaf. Didn't have time to put his seatbelt on, but like I say, he's a professional. He knows what he's doing. Straight to the patient. See? You'd be thinking, oh, has it tipped? Of course he hasn't. He tiptoes when he needs to. Even had a 2-wheel tug of war with the Azov, and I won. And you thought it wasn't going to get back on its wheels, but you see? Magic of the loaf. Anyway, started dragging this bloody thing in circles again for a few minutes because nothing digs in anymore like it used to. In the end, this is why I leave this sort of stuff in. There is a bit of a theory behind the fun. I made the back of the frame hit the Azov, so then I knew it'd have no choice. You see? Kodiak, loaf nose. Even got Viet loaf flashbacks then of other trucks. Yeah, finally got it flipped. Well, finally, it took like a minute and a half, but still. It's about a minute and 20 seconds more than the loaf is used to. Yeah, going in for the drowning test. Or, well, not the drowning test, the snorkel depth test. I have no idea what I was doing then. Probably having a sip of coffee. Right, so that now is like, pretty sure that bow wave should be, hang on. We've got ourselves a floater. Well, no time to waste then. Keep her pinned and let's go. I already knew, that's why I'm looking right now, what the problem's going to be. As I get to deeper water, it's going to float the nose up, and that like long rear ladder frame chassis sticking out the back is going to scrape on the ground and lift my rear wheels up enough to where there's not enough weight on it to keep me going forward, and that is exactly what happened. However, it got in pretty damn deep. That's what she said. And yeah, definitely, like, for a beginner truck, bloody good. I even attached the winch to the back of the Azov and tried to pull it under. I mean, look away, if you got any kids, cover their eyes, because I am trying to murder the Kodiak right now. Yeah, I mean, look at it, it took like 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, but I have to say, it's a bloody hard truck to drown. Like, it's pretty, yeah, I didn't drown it in the end. Like, I could have if I sat there and let it take 4 damage for ages, but I even drove out, put the winch on the back of the Azov with as little distance as possible, and then reversed in, and again it's taking 2, and that even my Azov is so far, like the snorkel's basically any further, and I started drowning. Just quickly, because you know, loaf time. I wanted to see if I could drive up on it. In the end, it was better, instead of trying to get it equally, just put one of your loaf tyres on the actual ladder frame chassis. And the problem is though, the winch wasn't showing up on the front of the truck. I've already been over to that island with Dolphin and Loaf, but yeah, look, I can't winch to the front of the truck, but for the hell of it, I just attached it to the side. Like, yeah, get it up, Kodiak. Like I said, I've already been there, but with Dolphin and Loaf, sounds like a fragrance. Yeah, at this point it's like, oh crap, abandoned mission, boys. Dolphin, come and save me. Yeah. Anyway, oh yeah, I'm reviewing this, aren't I? It's not a Loaf video, god damn it. Yeah, I have to say actually, I am pretty impressed with this for what it is. Bear in mind though, if you are actually at early game and you get this, you're not going to have all the upgrades. And to be honest, in my upgrade video, somebody said it perfectly. The problem with this is its upgrades are too far into the maps, and they're absolutely right. Like, I think the engine upgrade is on Black River, but everything else, some of them are even on like Island Lake. That's where Island Lake was the last map I went to. Like, the Twin Steer was the last truck I found. I went to Drowned Lands pretty late as well and didn't get the Tiger until fairly late. But yeah, they are right, it needs more upgrades in Black River. At least like the engine, the raised suspension would be nice, and at least the like engageable all-wheel drive, which I believe is an upgrade and you don't have it when you first get this truck. It isn't that amazing when it's stock, if I'm honest, and unless you're gonna, if you watch like my upgrade video, you can get to the right places and you'll know where to get the stuff. But Island Lake, you're gonna have to do Smithville. You might be able to just go to Island Lake after Smithville instead of going Drummond as well. But yeah, they're not early enough, and it is a hindrance for this. I ended up having the Navistar, and because I didn't have many or any upgrades for this, I just put my money into the Navistar instead. And sadly, in a way, I just put this truck to one side, put it on the back burner because I didn't have the upgrades, and by the time I found the upgrades, I had other upgraded trucks that it's like I may as well keep putting my money into them over now fully upgrading this, which I didn't have all the money in the world at then. I don't now, I'm always skint, but yeah, that's the truck's biggest flaw, is that its lack of upgrades when you need them, when it's relevant. But it's 30 odd grand stock. I like to say it isn't priced like an end game truck or anything like that, and for what it is, it did bloody well, and it kind of impressed me. Got above the bar I'd set pretty much all night, and it just remained fun. Little things like, you know, in high gear where I grabbed the cargo, it's just little bits like that I like with trucks that keep you interested. And it's nothing against people's playstyle or whatever. Like I say, I've put hundreds of hours already in, I've done the slow driving, but stuff like that Azov John thing is just too, like, I'm always thinking, come on, like, I want a bit of action and I want a bit of a thrill. This, yeah, it definitely got there just enough. It's not rapid in high range, but yeah, it's decent. So, well, I mean, I'd say get the truck. You're going to find it for free in Black River anyway, so you're definitely going to get it. But yeah, when you get the upgrades, if you got the spare dough, I'd put the money into it. It's a fun little truck and surprisingly capable. It got up the first half of the Quarry Hill, so the Derry, 200 grand nearly, couldn't even start. So yeah, it's better than Derry, oddly enough. Derry's got the wrong engine. It's not really its fault. Anyway, that's about it for today. I hope you've enjoyed. I hope that helps. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon.